Hello, I'm Paul.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Ben.
And welcome to the Film Busters podcast. The film show with no filters, no prisoners taken, loads of disagreements, but one hell of a love for cinema.
If you want to hear three friends ridiculing each other for an hour or so regarding their taste in films, then you have come to the right place.
In each episode, one of the team picks a film for us to discuss. It could be anything from a recent cinema release to an all-time classic.
So, strap in and get ready to get mad or get vindicated as we guide you through the murky world of being a film geek.
If you like what you hear, you can also find us on Twitter and Instagram using @FilmbustersPod. You can also find each of our individual accounts. I'm at Filmbusters Paul.
I'm at Filmbusters Adam.
And I'm at Filmbusters Ben.
If you want to use your eyes instead of your ears, you can also visit the website at filmbusterspod.co.uk.
And if busting makes you feel good, you can also support us at patreon.com/filmbusters for exclusive content.
Or shoot over and get some groovy merchandise at society6.com/filmbusters.
Alright, can we just get on with this now, please?
Filmbusters.
Well, look at this, boys. This is our penultimate episode before we go on a short little holiday.
Oh, it's very sad. I feel sad. I can't wait to go on holiday, but I also feel sad like we're just going to be away for a little bit.
I know. I think it could do us good. People will miss us.
You might come back with some more energy, Adam.
I won't be. I'll come back with less energy. I've been enjoying my holiday too much, and you'll be like, "Why the hell am I back here?
Why am I doing this podcast again?"
I know.
Yeah.
But we're actually not really going away for that long. Listeners, as you hear us, we're currently recording. We're recording both this episode and our final upcoming episode the first week of May, but it will get released throughout May. I don't think we will come together as a threesome to record an episode again until like late June. Is that right?
Yeah, I'd say probably about that, yeah.
So technically for listeners, it'll only be like a month break, but for us, it's almost 2 months.
Indeed. Unless we come back for a sneaky one, you and me, Ben, while Adam's on holiday.
Might do a sneaky one. We're all on the holidays staggered though, don't forget, because you're on honeymoon.
Yeah.
And then I'm in Geneva with work. And then when I'm back, Adam goes on his holiday. And then he's going to Glastonbury and other such things.
Yes.
We're all on our jollies.
Oh, exactly. I'm going to forget who you guys are. Do you buy anything when you go on holiday? Do you buy yourself a souvenir of any kind?
I do.
I might get myself a magnet.
That's exactly what we do. Everywhere we go, we get a magnet, mate. Everywhere.
Aww.
Any holiday.
And also, another thing as well, whenever we go away, Zoe's dad says, you need to find me it's some sort of Vespa. Like the bike.
Oh, yeah, they always have those, like, Vespas covered in the flag.
He has them all, like, in his kitchen on the shelf.
Regardless of where you go?
Yeah, they're normally just random shops.
See, this is the thing. I don't
people know.
Well, I don't want a souvenir from somebody else's holiday.
Oh yeah, not from someone else's.
I normally collect money. That's what I do. I like to keep a local currency.
There'd be less of that going on these days, mate.
I know, it's just all euros. It's boring.
I know, exactly. Were you even born when there was pesetas when you went to Spain? Of course you were born.
Potatoes?
Yeah. Did you ever use the pesetas in Spain?
Sounds like a brand of crisps.
Listen, this guy's so young, he doesn't remember the peseta.
Wasn't it francs?
Mate, that's France.
And Switzerland and stuff.
Yeah, that's the Swiss franc.
Yeah.
And that still is the Swiss franc. They're not on the euros. In Spain, you did the peseta, and a 25 peseta coin had a hole in it in the middle. And you would
I've seen them.
You would go into many a Spanish bar, and you would find a lemon floating in the top of a pint glass.
You have to balance it.
You balance it, yes.
You do that here.
You balance what?
All the time.
A coin?
Yeah, but you balance the 25 peseta coin. That's the thing. It's not just stick a 50p or a 10p on it. It's balancing the 25 peseta coin on a lemon in water. So there's a pint glass and a lemon on top.
And get a free drink if you do it or something.
Yeah. But it always rolls.
No idea what you're talking about.
No, imagine you've got a lemon floating in water.
Yes. Is it a whole lemon? Like a
Yeah,
slice?
Yeah, a whole lemon. Whole lemon.
Yeah.
And then you've got to balance a 25 peseta coin, which is the one with the hole in the middle, on it. But and then you win everything that's inside.
Inside the glass?
Yeah, which is everyone else's attempts. It's actually probably much easier with a 25 peseta coin than a pound coin. Because a pound coin's
heavy.
Yeah. Couldn't get the fucking word out of my throat then.
See, when you said you want it from the glass, I thought you meant the drink, and I was like,
drink,
who the fuck wants to drink that drink?
Yeah, you got to drink. That's the other thing. You got to drink all the water in the glass before you can get to the coins that have been sat at the bottom for months.
Oh, yummy.
Oh, Christ.
Where's this conversation descended into? We were speaking about us going on a break.
It was all about holidays, wasn't it? We're going on a much needed break. And anyway, if you ain't a patron, during this little break time, you can sign up to be a patron because we've dropped all the charges for the next couple of months. So go ahead treat yourself for a freebie.
Absolutely. We have over 40 episodes on there.
Yeah, go check them out.
You got a hell of a lot of content there, and that's at www.patreon.com/filmbusters.
I'll do a little something for you as well over the next month or so keep your eyes posted.
And that'll be free of charge.
Yes.
Nothing. They'll pay nothing for that.
Well, 25%.
We would like it if you stayed around so you could fund other holidays, but
That's true, yeah.
even though we don't really get any funding ourselves out of this, we can't quit our jobs quite yet.
Not quite yet. Why are we talking like this?
Because that's how we are these days.
Well, what pip? Tell you.
We're going to be cultured from our holidays.
Right. What's all this
Yucky.
then?
Right, should we tell everyone what we're doing today?
Oh, yeah.
So today we're taking another trip down 1993 lane. We're doing Hard Target from John Woo.
Hard Target from New Orleans.
Yes.
Hard Target to Hawaii.
But before we descend into madness doing the actual review, Ben, do you want to do the quiz?
Oh, yes, we're going to do the quiz. Now, how well were you boys paying attention? Both of you could get this. Paul is on 14 points. I'm on 9 and Adam's on 7. For those of you who haven't listened before, this is the point in the episode where I ask the boys a couple of quiz questions that relate to the film we're doing. If they get the question right, they get a point. If they get it wrong, I get the point. As I told you, Paul is storming away, but this is Adam's chance to gain 2 points and pull up level with me again. So let's see. Here we go. You ready, boys?
Let's do this.
Many crossbow arrows are fired at homeless veteran Douglas Binder in the opening of the film. But how many actually make contact? You can each have a guess.
3.
You say 3. Adam, you can't say what Paul said.
4.
Oh, no, fine. Okay. You can say what Paul said.
4.
No, I'll take your first answer because I should have explained
4.
it before. You both said 3.
4.
I'm going to list... Listen, you both said 3. I'm going to list the arrows that made contact.
Okay.
The first arrow, it almost pins him to the wall, but it just scrapes his forehead.
That's the why I was going for 4 over 3.
That's number 1. Number 2, he gets it in his chest. Boom. He pulls that fucker out, though. And then he's running, and he gets the third in his back. Boom. He goes down through the gangways on that plank, almost into the water. And as he tries to come up the gangway, boom. 4th one in the back.
Oh, look at that.
4 arrows in the back. So I'm very sorry, Adam. That's why I couldn't give it to you because you did say 3. I know you said 3 originally. And then when I said you had to give a different answer, I realised that was an unfair advantage to you. But I will allow Paul to determine if you should get the point or
I
not.
said 4, though.
I want Adam to be like complaining about this for years and years, so I say no.
No points for Adam. That's a point for Benny.
I'm not going to
Thanks.
complain about it now.
That's a point for Benny. You will. Get ready for this one.
I would have done.
All right. First answer gets it. As a thank you for doing the same for him, how did John Woo pay homage to Quentin Tarantino in this film?
Oh.
Do they talk about tipping?
That's Adam's answer. Pulled that out of the clear booster guy.
Did I see something? Did I see something? I feel like I might have seen something,
Well,
but I think I'm going to take too long. I thought maybe I don't know. Maybe was it a song? I don't know. I don't know what it was.
no, it is the ear cutting scene.
Oh, I read that
Really?
fact. I read that fact.
Look at that. Specifically because Quentin Tarantino put the Mexican standoff at the end of Reservoir Dogs, which was a synonymous thing in John Woo's films prior. He decided he would pay tribute to Tarantino, which is why he included that scene.
It's not really an ear cutting, it's a lobe cutting.
The whole fucking scene is there. It's a 3-minute scene.
I mean,
know.
it is part of the ear and it is cut, so it's kind of its ear cutting.
Yeah. There you go.
Very good. I totally forgot that, and I did actually read it, so that is very bad of me.
Look at that.
It is terrible. You don't deserve any points. Take all his points away from him.
Terrible, but I'm advancing on Paul. I'm crimping Paul's lead. Paul's had a bad couple of weeks. He ain't scored no points 2 weeks on the bounce, I don't think.
Man's got to do some origami over here.
Yeah.
What, crimping?
Yeah, that's what you do in origami.
Very good. Very good.
There we go. Look at that.
Well, what are the scores on the doors?
The scores are 14 to Paul, 11 to Ben, and 7 to Adam, which means going into our little holiday break, regardless of what happens in the next episode, Paul will be leading up.
I will.
Unless you do a question that's worth 100 points.
It's true. I might do a curveball for our final episode before our hiatus. Anyway, that was the quiz, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy that quiz.
Thanks for hosting that quiz, Ben. Very
Thanks.
good. Should we move on to the review of Hard Target?
Please.
Hard Target to New Orleans.
Hello, pretty lady.
Leave me the hell alone.
We'll take it. How about a little extra, honey?
You having fun?
Why don't you do yourself a favor, boy?
I think the favor gonna be done for you. It's okay. I said get lost. Now take your big stick and your boyfriend and find a bus to catch.
Oh, this guy's funny.
Right, everyone, today we're doing Hard Target, the 1993 film from John Woo. This is a spoiler episode, so if you haven't seen it, we'll go straight into spoilers, no hanging around. So you might want to see it first, otherwise come back. And then we can just talk about it and you can understand what we're talking about. Just before we go on to Adam's review of the film, let's just look at some
My
people.
review, no one else's.
Not review. You know what I mean, the plot summary. But before that, we're going to talk about some people we've done before on this podcast. Obviously, we've done John Woo. We know what film we did.
Oh,
we
yes.
did Face Off, the wonderful Face Off. But we've also got one other person. I don't know whether you know who this
I'm
other
going to
person
guess
is.
who it is, but I can't think what the film is that we've done. I'm going to guess it's Lance Henriksen.
No.
Oh,
No.
okay.
No. This is Sven Ole Thorsen.
Who's that?
He plays Stephen. He's one of the rich folk, right? He who gets taken into the forest at the end.
Right.
And he was in Predator as a Russian officer, and he's also he's a Danish guy, and he's friends with Schwarzenegger. It seems he's been in a lot of films with Schwarzenegger,
Well, how'd you like
and
that?
he's a big bodybuilder.
Okay.
There you go. It's his second appearance. Well done, Sven.
Well done. God, we've come a long way for this to be our first Lance Henriksen. That motherfucker's in everything. How have we
Yeah.
not covered him before?
I know. And it seems like he might cover again.
Oh, yes. I won't tell you anything about that just yet. Adam's going, what? Because he doesn't even make that connection yet.
No.
No. Motherfuckers watched it 2 times in 1 year.
Good time.
I haven't watched it yet.
Well, Adam, would you like to do your review / plot summary of this film?
Yeah. So, this is about a film where...
a film.
No, this
about
film's
film.
about a lady's dad goes missing, who happens to be a homeless man.
dad.
Well, I don't know. What else would you describe? A woman's dad.
A woman's father goes missing.
Who happens to be a
lady's dad.
homeless, who happens to be a homeless man. And
Spoilers.
it turns out to be there's people who hunt homeless people, and she gets Jean-Claude Van Damme in to give people some high kicks in the face and find who killed her dad.
Well, that is pretty much it, yeah.
Pretty much it. Shall I give you a little bit of background?
Yeah, go on.
All right. This was Chinese director John Woo's US directorial debut. It was also the very first major Hollywood film made by a Chinese director. You believe that? Isn't that crazy? Universal Pictures, who were the production studio, they were a bit nervous about having a foreign director helm one of their projects, so they sent in Sam Raimi as producer on the agreement that he would jump in as director if they needed him to. But that wasn't the case, and despite some language barriers, Woo managed to steer the whole ship. Although he did originally want Kurt Russell in the lead role, when Van Damme was cast, he got along with him so well in fact that he rewrote the script to add plenty more action scenes in order to benefit his leading man's strength. And before settling on the Hard Target script, he was offered many other scripts, and when he flicked through one of them, which he passed on, was Face Off, because he didn't like the sci-fi aspect of the story. And we all know what happened after that.
No one made Face Off.
No one made Face Off. We don't know what Face Off is. What is Face Off?
Imagine. That'd be a bad world.
Yeah. It's a bit topical at the moment. Nicolas Cage has literally just come out saying again about Face Off 2 is going to happen, and he's involved. He didn't say anything about Johnny Boy, though.
He has to be.
If you ain't doing it with Johnny Boy, I'm not interested. If you got them both back, I'm there front and centre.
Absolutely.
First day, mate.
It has to be.
You'd be there. I don't think you'd be there front and centre first day, but you'd still be there if it was just Nick Cage.
I would, if they brought out Face Off 2, I would IMAX the fuck out of it.
Oh, wonderful. Hell yeah.
Oh.
Paul, you
it would
really
never be
need
as
to
good,
go
but-
see The Unbearable Weight of Talent.
I'll see it at some point. I'm not going to
go
go cinema.
see it soon.
I'm not going to go cinema.
You do. Everyone's laughing at Nicolas Cage.
I've got a wedding
Nice.
to do.
Fuck the wedding. Zoe
the
will have
wedding.
more fun watching this than she would at her own wedding.
Oh, Jesus. That is a statement right there. Right, should we move on to our reviews?
Yeah, Paul, it was your pick.
Yes, it's my pick, so I get to decide whose order their first impressions is said.
Yes, just like the order of those words.
I'm going to go first. Then it's going to be Adam, and then it's going to be Ben.
Bully boy.
Okay, so I'm going to say I think the whole film really hinges on how much you like or combine to Van Damme as a good lead. The action's wacky, and it's a lot of fun in places. I really enjoyed the Western approach, and Van Damme putting his trench coat back to reveal his leg is so dumb, but it just works. That's how dumb it is. Playing off against Himhotep. Do you get the reference? Himhotep?
Should I be getting the reference?
Yeah. The Mummy.
I don't watch that shit.
Okay, well,
I
Himhotep
watch it, I don't like it.
is the mummy from The Mummy, and it's, what's his name? Arnold Vosloo.
Oh, it was that guy. He was
Yeah.
the guy who was
Pick
working
Van
with
Cleef.
Lance Henriksen.
Yeah. So he's Himhotep from The Mummy.
I thought he was recognisable.
Anyway, him and Lance Henriksen work well, and the whole concept of rich people hunting down homeless vets, it's a great idea. But my God, when Van Damme opens his mouth, I just don't think it is any good. Like, his one-liners sound dumb. His little winky face that he keeps doing, like, constantly, just doesn't work for me. It's a bit cringe. And this is my
face.
This is my. Don't you remember the winky face he kept doing?
No.
He kept winking.
He did it like 2 or 3 times throughout.
Yeah, it's like you're gonna wink again. It's very subtle, like very subtle wink, and they cut away from it very quickly. But anyway, this is my first exposure to any one of his films, so I think it's only my like knowledge that I've heard that he's incredibly hard to work with, and it kind of rubbed off on my experience. I don't know if it's that, but also the fact that Kurt Russell was supposed to be in this instead, because my lord, that would have been wonderful. He's a bankable star for me. You know, I'm going to see his films, and I think that half the battle with action films, you need the lead to be strong enough to pull the rest of the movie through, or a very, very good villain. But reading about how Van Damme pretty much steered the ship away from John Woo's vision, it's kind of annoying. I know I've read this afterwards, but it kind of, I haven't changed my score. But reading this afterwards, I was like, yeah, I knew it was a bit like that. But like Van Damme saying people are paying to see Jean-Claude Van Damme, not to see Lance Henriksen. It's like, you fucking motherfucker. Hence why they edited and they removed most of his scenes crazily. But
Is that true? I know that Jean-Claude Van Damme did an edit, but I read that as he just did his own edit. It wasn't necessarily the one that we have just watched.
From what I read, no, it was, because it was over 2 hours. Like, it was long. It was like a 2 hour something cut, and then on the trivia it said Van Damme and his editor went into a room, locked themselves in and said, here you go, this is the film. And then he said about there was too much Lance Henriksen.
Yeah, I remember reading that. I just didn't know the version that we saw was his. I thought like he did an edit and he was like, this is how it should be. But that wasn't necessarily the one that went out. I don't know. Maybe it was. Is he listed as the editor in the credits?
Oh, I haven't actually looked. But from what I was reading, because it said John Woo's cut was over 2 hours.
Right.
And
how long was this film?
Like it was like only just over an hour and a half, wasn't it? Wasn't long. And also the fact that making sure the camera was constantly focused on his muscles at all times. Did you read that one?
Oh, I didn't.
It sounds like he's bloody like Fast
This
and
guy's
Furious or
fucking.
something.
He's a fucking nut, mate. But I liked it. Like Van Damme hasn't inspired me to seek out his
after all
films. Yeah, Van Damme hasn't inspired me to seek out his films, but the film itself had enough there for me to have a good time. And the fact that he is so fucking vanity filled kind of added a little bit to it. But I'm not going to watch any more of his films unless it's on this podcast, and that's my review.
Have you not watched like Kung Fu Panda and stuff?
When's he in fucking Kung Fu Panda? Why don't I know that?
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Kung Fu Panda is not Jean-Claude Van Damme.
He's in it. I was just looking at his films when you were talking about that. I was like, have I watched many Jean-Claude Van Damme films? And he's in Kung Fu Panda 2 and 3.
Well, he's not the lead, is he? Because it's some American.
What is his big film that he's known for? For me, it was Universal Soldier growing up, but that's not even a big film.
Yeah, probably that or JCVD.
Yeah, but that is so...
That's a documentary, isn't it?
How do... No, it's not. He just plays himself. It's an action film. But like... So the average person on the street, if you asked, people wouldn't be like, oh yeah, that's the film that put him on the map.
There's Bloodsport, which seems quite big, I guess.
Street Fighter, the movie.
Yeah, Street Fighter.
Possibly that.
I think it's half to do with his ego that he works with certain people, but he never gets really that big.
Universal Soldier was the kiddie when I was young. If I rewatch that these days, I wonder what I'd think. Anyway,
I've never seen it.
Shall we go to you, please, Adam?
Yes. I kind of agree with what Paul said. I found this film was really fun. It was really stupid, but it was lent itself very well to the feel of the film, and you wanted it to exactly be like that. The film is probably about 40 minutes long, but I think once you've added all the slow-mos in, it kind of makes up the runtime to about an hour and a half. But it was just, they were all brilliant and they were really good, and it was fun, and it was kind of stupid. I don't know if it was meant to have like a social commentary on it kind of thing, but I don't know if it needed it. It didn't really want to. You're not there for that reason. You're there to watch people get kicked in the face by Jean-Claude Van Damme, and that's what it gave you. However, I do think there is that element that neither him or the villains are memorable enough to make you either want to come back and watch the film, or for you to remember the film in a very fond way. And I think that's what kind of does hold it back. Whereas when you compare it to these films, that it kind of seems like, in fact, same bracket like we did Predator, whereas you remember Arnie's performance in that for ages to come, and that's what you come back for. And those elements of it just didn't have that level. It's very, what do you call it, run-of-the-mill of those kind of films. But that doesn't stop it being fun.
Oh, you boys had fun with it. I will pick up what you said there about not a memorable villain. I will go so far as to say, if it weren't for Lance Henriksen as the villain in this film, this would have been completely unwatchable for me. Action films are never my bag anyway, as you know, unless there's something else with it. But this was just action without any substance to it at all. I had such a nightmare with this movie. I hated it. I wasn't enjoying it from very, very early on, and it was just getting worse and worse as it went. The characters, even the action, the story was also like fucking safe and like TV movie and wooden and just unengaging. And yes, it was an action film. There was action in it, but just because action was in it, there was as much action in it as you would get in a fucking television commercial. And I'm not going to recommend someone watches a television commercial And I'm not going to say a television commercial is good. So I'm not going to say this film was good just because John Woo did some action stuff on there. Honestly, I appreciate that probably what happened here, because I know John Woo is good, and we saw what he did in Face Off, and I know that in Hong Kong cinema he did incredible action films. So I appreciate it was probably because this was like his English language debut. Maybe a lot of stuff got lost in translation with the cast, with the crew, his vision clashing with other crew members. He couldn't communicate it. Either way, this was a chore and a half. It was so dull. I couldn't have cared less. Lance Henriksen saved the movie for me. And I did really like the opening. I thought the concept of them hunting that man, and then when there was the sentence about when you quickly realise it's rich people hunting homeless, I thought, there's your fire, there's your great ideas. They did fuck all with it. That was interesting as far as I was
That's why I was like, is there meant to be a social commentary? Is there not? Like, they could have let
They didn't
into
even
it, but
need
they
to
didn't
really
need
go.
to.
They didn't need to. They could have just handled the whole fucking thing better. Like, I didn't smile once. I didn't think anything was funny. I hated... Jean-Claude Van Damme is so repugnant, and that hair is just filthy, man. I don't like you people with long hair like that anyway, but you are one greasy motherfucker, and I did not care for this.
Are you just jealous?
I totally get that, Ben. Yeah, like when you said I really enjoyed the first scene, in my head I was thinking, what, the bit where he's in the bar?
No.
And I was thinking, you like that bit? That is the moment when I was like, oh, like I was kind of getting in the feel of it. I was like, oh, because immediately when it opens, it's in that kind of it feels almost like you're in a western, like the town.
It totally does, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I'm getting the groove of this, the use of like the guitar and everything, like the big guitar strums. Like, okay, this is Western. He's going for a Western vibe here.
Yeah.
And even when they're in the bar, it's like it's lone gunslinger.
Yeah.
And
Well, it did feel very backwards compared to other films that we've watched, even from the 80s, of that whole thing of he's got to be there to protect the woman. Like, when they said, don't go through this town without someone you know, it's like he's there to protect and be king. If this film was from 83, you'd go, okay, yeah, it feels like that very 80s action muscle heroes
Yeah.
kind of stuff. It doesn't feel like a 93 movie.
No, it doesn't. It's come at a time when, like we've already kind of been saying, where the tides are starting to change about muscle men and how muscles are on screen, you know? And it does feel it feels fucking outdated. Look, we got Face Off a couple years after this, did we? Like maybe 3 years after this.
Yeah.
And the action, the campness, the fun, the storyline, the silliness of it, the brilliance of it is all absent in this film. I didn't even get a hint of the John Woo that we love from Face Off in this.
I really think half the battle of this film is Jean-Claude Van Damme. He's not.
Yeah, he's
I don't like
unlikable.
watching him.
No.
I don't like watching him. He is unlikable, and I can just feel every single scene, every single like phrase he comes out with. It's just like you got a fucking ego on you. You probably wrote this line yourself just because you want to look like the coolest motherfucker in the room.
Do you know that when he was doing the one-liners kind of bits, like all that kind of stuff, like what you'd expect from like your Arnie stuff?
Shit one-liners.
Do you reckon they were done in post?
Why'd you say that?
Why?
Because there were so many of them that just like happened, and while the scene transition was happening.
You didn't see his mouth moving.
No.
Shot from behind his head.
Like, yeah, or like the camera would move away from him and it would be cut into another. I remember distinctly with one bit
Just
where
quickly
he
throw it
he
out
beats
there.
somebody up, and then the camera just, I think it went down to like a road, and as it transitioned to that, you hear him say a line.
It probably just to try and make it more interesting. But you know that you say this about one-liners. I'm sure they were in there. I can't remember.
I can't remember
One.
what the lines were. They're not that. They were very run of the mill.
Have you got one, Paul?
I have wrote down. I've just wrote like notes like sparingly, but the first thing that came out of his mouth that I remember was, "Take your big stick, your boyfriend, and find a bus to catch."
Oh yeah.
You
I
fucking
need
idiot.
your boots. I need
It's
your
like not even.
motorcycle.
It's clunky. It's clunky as fuck. That
Yeah.
line. It's not even. It's not cool whatsoever. And you're fucking being homophobic while saying as well.
There you go. All of that introductory stuff all of that Western slow-mo panning cameras and shit, it just felt so corny, and it not in that good. Okay, we're in for a hard ticket to Hawaii. That knew it was trying to be funny at the same time. At the same time, it was being its own action, whatever. But it felt like they weren't forcing the matter. It was just of the time. This all felt so forced. It was like, let's try and make this that sort of, okay, John Woo's here now. Let's give it this Western feel because this is his arrival in Hollywood. So yeah, let's give it that aesthetic. And it's like, mate, this is not working. But do you think if you put Kurt Russell in that lead, it would have been any better? I don't know so much, man. I don't think the story was good enough.
I don't know, man. He's like, Kurt Russell brings the charisma.
He's one charismatic motherfucker. He is. I like him.
And that goes a long way with just like accepting everything else around you. As soon as you have a dud lead, it's like, well, I'm not on the boat already. It's like, so anything else that comes along, it's not going to help the matter. Unless you have a really, really gripping story. It's like, I don't know. This is my first Jean-Claude film, and it's like, how instantly whether you're going to like an action star or not, I think. Yeah. It's like the first Schwarzenegger film you watched, hell fucking yeah, I'm on board. Yeah. I just love this man. Where this is like, you're fucking cringe.
Yeah.
Don't like you. I just don't like you. And I feel that's all that I'm going to get any other films I watch with him in.
Do you reckon it kind of what they watched Batman and Robin and thought? Batman and Robin came out after this, didn't it?
After this, yeah.
Well, they wanted to make that kind of film in some ways.
They watched Batman and Robin, then they got in a time machine and came back and said, give it to John Woo.
There's nothing like Batman and Robin, a Western.
But can you imagine how bad Predator would have turned out if they had allowed Jean-Claude Van Damme to continue on as the Predator? Because as soon as he starts doing the kung fu kicks at the beginning of the film...
he was kicked out of that, wasn't he?
Yeah, because he wanted to make him a fucking ninja. He wanted to do kung fu kicks everywhere. The Predator.
It was quite cool. I did think towards the end, I was like, okay, I kind of get like he's shut up and kicking people. I was like, okay, I mean, that's his thing.
That's his thing. Yeah, to do that.
This fucking ego, mate. But let me just say some things that I did like. I like the setting in New Orleans, like the. I really like the setting of the finale, the Mardi Gras, the old abandoned floats, like it's the Mardi Gras graveyard they called it or something, didn't they? Yeah. I like that as an idea of like a final showdown place. I like Lance Henriksen, and if they had a good lead, it could have totally transformed this film to something upper echelon. It could have been legendary, but it's just Well, I kind of enjoy. I did kind of enjoy the hunting down of the homeless vets. Yeah, I enjoy that as a concept.
It's a good concept. It is, but I don't know. I don't think it is just down to Jean-Claude Van Damme. He is massively a part of it. But even when he wasn't on screen, I was not enjoying scenes. The guy who played the mummy, I didn't like him. He felt too cartoony for me. I liked Henriksen's energy. It was very dark, and he's always good. He could do sinister good. I needed him to have a fucking worthy adversary, and Jean-Claude Van Damme was not it. And also, they just the woman, the love interest, if you want to call her that, she had nothing to bring to the party.
I mean, that could be one thing. She's not actually a love interest in the end, is she?
No, that's true. She's
one
not. No.
Positive. Like they could have thrown it straight down into that. That's all she's there for. But
then it's even worse.
Yeah, she wasn't really given anything. She's almost like the purpose for why Jean-Claude Van Damme's there in the first place, and that's all she gets. And then she shoots someone in the end. That's about it. But she gets told off.
I mean, she couldn't act for shit either.
I liked the dad. There you go. I liked him.
The dad or the uncle?
The uncle, sorry.
Well, when he goes at the end, it's a tragedy. It's a tragedy. When he gets
the moonshine uncle, he was all right. He was a little bit of fun.
I didn't like him either.
No.
That's fair. Him in the fucking bayou, I was not for him either.
He's a big racist, I'm sure.
I'm sure he is, yes. Although he lives in close proximity to New Orleans, so he's got to be fairly liberal. They're a fairly liberal lot down there.
I'm down on this bayou. I'm gonna be shooting me some people.
There just wasn't. Oh mate,
No one
listen,
in it was memorable enough to make it stick. I saw someone describe this film as it's a good film to put on if you've come back from the pub on a Friday evening and you're a bit waved and you're in for some fun and you don't have to think about it.
maybe that's the only way you could absorb and enjoy it. But I would still much rather fall back and watch Terminator 2 drunk from a
Absolutely.
pub.
I never need to watch this again. Never need to watch this again.
No. But I don't. I would like to know where you boys got the fun out of it, because you were criticizing it too, but you were like, but it was still fun. I still
enjoyed the action
It was
scene.
such a chore.
It was fun because of how absurd it was. So like,
And how stupid it was.
Him using his gun as a leg. His leg
leg
as
as
a
a
gun.
gun.
Either way, sounds stupid.
Like when he's shooting the gun upside down and stuff like that, it's like this film is just dumb, but like in a fun dumb.
I not for me, sirs.
It's just
Unfortunately,
outlandish, stupid action. It's like you can kind of see like the origins of Face Off, like how outlandish that is. But this doesn't land every time. But it's still a little bit fun because of how stupid it is. Just him coming down on a fucking stalk.
Oh yeah.
Shooting people. I can't even think of anything. It is pretty forgettable.
it is massively forgettable. There's two things I can remember from it. One, and it wasn't because I enjoyed it. It was because I thought you've put this in here to beg it. Was him punching out the snake?
Oh yes.
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
I forgot
Just
about
like
that.
Hard Ticket to Hawaii. But
Absolutely, yeah.
But second of all, was like, oh right, okay, that's kind of cool. It was the precursor to the shot in Face Off where Jean-Claude Van Damme and the other guy are either side of the wall,
Yeah.
which is one of my favourite bits in Face Off.
Yeah.
And they suddenly spin and point their guns at each other.
Yeah.
But that was like case in point. It was like in this film, it didn't work because they're not looking at, they're not either side of a fucking mirror. In Face Off, they do that, and then when they spin, they are seeing the villain that they want to see because they're inhabiting their body. So it worked. In this, it was like, well, let's just put them either side of this wall. It was a nothing.
Yeah.
But it was
It's
still
a-
interesting to go, oh yeah, that's going to appear in Face Off later, used much more effectively.
Yeah, it's almost like John Woo was like, "Oh shit, I needed that for this film."
Yeah.
Because that's that scene, yeah. But it kind of puts him as an auteur. He's using things he's done before.
He's
That's
an
his
auteur.
style.
Hey, I mean, the guy is. I haven't seen a lot of his stuff, but he's clearly a good action director. For me, I just think, yeah, it was a perfect storm of being his first Hollywood film, so he couldn't communicate properly with the crew to get the shots that he wanted to get. I think he's gone on record as saying, "Here, I'll read you this.
Go on.
While we were making Hard Target, I did try to make it a little bit more like a Hong Kong film style, even though it was an American movie, which didn't work well in the beginning because I found the audience in general were not familiar with Hong Kong style. In the meantime, I tried to make the movie a bit more romantic, and on the other hand, I wanted to make the movie look like a modern Western because I'm so crazy about Westerns. Anyways, in Hard Target, I was too ambitious and tried to do everything in one film. This is unlike any traditional films in the States, so the audience didn't understand what's going on with those techniques. It's not a typical Hollywood action movie, and slow motion, and also the violent moments too. The audience couldn't take it, and some people left the theatre in the middle of the movie. Although the film didn't achieve great success, it sold well. I think he's got it twisted there. He's basically saying, I tried to do too much and American audiences probably needed less. It's like, no, mate, that wasn't the case. Everything was lost in translation.
That film
was
there
nothing
sounds a
to
lot
it.
better.
It does sound a lot better, doesn't it? If you heard that, if we read that before watching the film, you'd expect an entirely different film.
Yeah.
And you just, man, there's nothing to it. It is completely vacuous.
I mean, to be fair, I don't really know what else to say about the film from now on.
I thought you sounded very positive on it, Adam.
Yeah,
You
you
certainly
do.
did.
You enjoy it, and you're like, that was fun, but they weren't great. And then you kind of done with it. It's one of those films. There's not a lot else to talk about.
You tell me why you didn't like Lance Henriksen.
I just found them both quite forgettable. I didn't dislike them, but I just didn't think they're ones that you're going to remember.
I liked him. I as I said, I would love to have seen Kurt Russell face up against him.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, like, if Kurt Russell was in it, like, the story wouldn't have changed unless they went Big Trouble in Little China way and made it a bit more, or like Escape from New York. It might have helped it a little bit. But I just, I don't know, man. It's like, I can't put my finger on it. It's just that the ingredients are there. You got a concept. It's an action film, action director, action star, whether he has charisma or not. Yet none of it fucking worked.
I really do think it's Van Damme. I think that imagine just having Kurt Russell in that. He just oozes cool anyway, right? They probably wouldn't have had all the karate in it.
No, they definitely
I don't imagine it would. But Kurt Russell can win me over for anything.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't have to try hard. And like Van Damme, he just doesn't endear anything. Like, it's just fucking he's shit.
No, I know.
He's just so shit.
But then you're saying that essentially the screenplay for this is, and whatever you give it, you like the screenplay, you like the story, and if it had been Kurt Russell cast in that lead, then it would have made it a pretty good film for you.
I think so. I think so. I think it would have done a lot for someone else to be in that lead role, because he was half the battle for me. Like, as soon as he came into it with when he was showing his leg and was wanting to kick someone, I was like, what is this? Where's this film going? I don't like when people are just in a setting and it's like you just have all these sun and karate skills and shit like that. It's like, who are you? It's like, this is not believable, and also I just don't like you anyway, because you're so fucking egotistical and vain, and the lines you're saying are just shit, and you're just not winning me round. But give me someone else, and I'll be on board with the film. I was enjoying the intro to the film, like you said. I was intrigued. I was like, where's this going? Why are they shooting this guy? Who is this guy? Then the girl goes to find her dad. Okay. And then as soon as you see him in the bar, it's like, you just have no charisma, mate. Ruined.
I take your point that when he turns up, it goes down, but I still stick by the fact that even when he wasn't on screen... In fact, I'll tell you what, there were many times when he wasn't on screen, and I was like, Jean-Claude Van Damme's not in this movie as much as I thought he would be. So it wasn't like I was hating it because he was in it.
So what bits are you talking about? So like when the main girl was involved, when the
main girl was involved, whenever we were focused on the villains and when they were...
I thought you liked the villains though.
I like Lance Henriksen, but not all the time that he was on screen. I thought he had charisma and potential, but he was literally the only thing that would have kept me... If we weren't doing it for the podcast, this would have been one of those few movies that I fucking turned off.
Oh, wow.
But because of Henriksen, he was getting me through it. Enough so much so I enjoyed the few times that Henriksen was on screen. But like anytime that he wasn't around, Jean-Claude wasn't around, I was still not enjoying it, because I'm like, this is slow. It felt like dark. I don't know if you two felt that way, but like visually dark, like not very attractive on the eyes for an action film. Like the set pieces,
it wasn't easy to follow.
No, it wasn't like, let's really showcase these action pieces, and so much of it was by night as well, and that became hard to follow for an action film.
I think that's the whole dark and gloomy, like New Orleans by the river. It's that kind of setting. That's what you kind of go for New Orleans.
Weren't for me, baby. Weren't for me. It just wasn't. And sometimes I can enjoy a brainless action film if the things are correct. If you bring some other stuff with it, some fun. There was no fun to be had with this at all.
I can kind of feel as well, like saying that they cut, if this film is the one, is this version is the one that was cut loads of Lance Henriksen.
Yeah. I
can kind of feel it, because I feel like there was a bigger story to say about him. Like what did he do in the film other than... I feel like he didn't have many lines.
Well, I would be interested, I wish we knew, but we just don't. I would be interested to know if what we got is the Jean-Claude Van Damme cut, then, okay, there is a better movie out there which has more Henriksen. But if it's not, and there's another cut of this which is more Jean-Claude and even less Henriksen, then that film needs to be burned and buried.
Would you seek either of them out?
I wouldn't seek it out.
I think this is clear to say. Okay, here we go. Look, this is the actual fact. John Woo's original cut of the film ran nearly 2 hours and focused more on Falcon, which is Lance Henriksen. Jean-Claude Van Damme and his editor locked themselves in an editing room for 2 days and re-edited the film for producers. Van
What's
Damme
this Jean-Claude
stated,
Van Damme and his editor? Who is he to suddenly
this is
swoop in
why
and
this guy
edit?
got a fucking ego on him, mate. Van Damme stated that moviegoers were paying to see a Van Damme movie, not a Lance Henriksen movie.
I tell you what, if there was a Lance Henriksen movie playing and a Jean-Claude movie playing in the cinema, I would go to the Lance Henriksen fucking film, mate.
Also, I'm quite glad he did that because I could not watch 2 hours of this though.
I know. Yeah. I mean, Paul, you're telling me this was only 90-something minutes?
95 minutes, wasn't there?
Christ, it felt so much longer.
It felt longer than Face Off, and Face Off isn't a good nearly hour longer than this.
It did feel fucking long. I mean, it's just... But I tell you what this does, though. It shows, like, you can't judge any individual actor, director, writer, whatever, based on one film. Because if this is the only John Woo film I'd seen, and someone was like, oh, but you got to watch Face Off, I'd have been like, no, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
In John Woo's original cut, there was a love scene cut between Chance and Nat.
Oh, well, there you go.
Oh,
some
no.
bullshit. Some bollocks. It's just a messy melange. I honestly think a lot of it comes down to him being a great director in China, but coming over to America and not being able to communicate with the crew very well, the vision that he wanted, and Jean-Claude Van Damme being like, yeah, well, I'm Jean-Claude, so I do this, you know, I kick over here and I kick over there.
Pretty much.
Man, it's just... I swear you did this impression in the Predator episode. I kick over here, I kick
I
over
did.
there.
That's all he does, though. I tell you, if you don't be entirely put off by Jean-Claude, not because his other action films are good, but JCVD is
That's
one
the only one.
interesting film.
Yeah, that's the only one I want to watch. That's the only one I have any interest in. Him
Yeah.
kicking people and shit like that. Like, that sounds like an introspective about him as a person,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
JCVD?
Yeah. I mean, you just got to watch it. Just it would be an interesting film if you could watch it as soon as possible after having watched this, because it is kind of like the other end. He went in with Hard Target and he's coming out with JCVD. It's not a marvelous film by any stretch, but one scene in particular is incredible.
Yeah. Well, this way, if I wanted to watch people hunt homeless people, I'd watch Always Sunny.
Always Sunny. Mate,
They must have spoofed this because they mentioned Jean-Claude Van Damme quite a bit. They've obviously seen this film and thought, fuck it, that would be fun to do, man.
I purposely didn't say it because I thought Adam is surely.
I wanted to
say
rewatch the
this.
episode before doing this podcast, but I didn't get a chance. I'm just seeing if they did do anything for it. But
Well, aren't they? Don't they talk about it being Rambo? Don't they talk about it being Rambo rather than Hard Target in that?
I think so,
'Cause
to an extent.
Frank's going, they drew first blood.
yeah, or unless
That's the
Frank's
same
doing
episode,
Rambo
right?
and they're like, no, we're doing.
Oh yeah, that's right. Frank says, yeah. Okay, so what movie did they say they're doing?
They might
Maybe
be
it
saying
is
that we're
Hard
doing Hard
Target.
Target, not Rambo, Frank. Like,
Oh my lord!
I do need to
Is there
rewatch
an
it and
Always
just see.
Sunny connection that we didn't even make to this film? Let's have a look. If I type in Always Sunny Hard Target, let's see what comes up here.
it'll be Manhunters. The episode's called Manhunters, isn't there?
Mac and Dennis Manhunters there. Well, no, it doesn't
I just
come
like
up.
them. Okay,
But
they must
but
have been
I wouldn't
inspired
be surprised.
because don't
Yeah.
they do when they make their own film, the M Night Shyamalan film? They're like, it's Jean-Claude Van Damme with the smell of a dog, isn't it?
Something? Yes, probably. And they like them action movies because
Yeah.
they even got Dolph Lundgren in.
Oh, it's Dolph Lundgren.
Thunder
That's
Gun.
it, not Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Well, look, it is what it is. But for those of you who haven't seen any other John Woo films, don't be put off.
No, of course. They got Face Off, one of the greatest films of all time.
You got Face Off. But is that it? Is that it? Is that all he's actually bringing to the table?
I haven't seen any of his Chinese films.
He's also got what's the other fucking John Travolta one?
Yeah, which you didn't like with Slater.
Yeah, 6. I gave that a 6. Shit.
Yeah, I'm looking. There's not too much, man. There's not a lot there that I'm seeing that is particularly inspiring.
Please tell me what the name of the film is.
Which one?
The one with Christian Slater.
Oh, Broken Arrow.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm not sure that John Woo actually... Well, I'd have to watch some of his other stuff, but...
Hard Boiled he did, right?
Yeah, I haven't seen
I've never seen it, so that is supposed to be one of the biggest that he's done. So maybe that is the next one to go to.
Maybe. I mean, yeah, like a brilliant Chinese director's US directorial debut is probably not the one to judge him on.
No.
And I won't. He'll always be Face Off for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is one blot, one stain, one bad movie.
One of the difficulties for director John Woo of working on a Hollywood movie was dealing with the star power of Jean-Claude Van Damme, who exerted a lot of control over the project, from script approval to filming to final cut. For example, Van Damme would insist on having one of the many cameras focused on his muscles at all times. Woo compiled but never used any of the footage. Van Damme would also delay filming because he was often on the phone negotiating new projects. Despite the difficulties, Woo did not regret working with Van Damme, calling him quite an interesting guy.
Yeah, they got on well together. They got on well.
Because he probably didn't understand a fucking word he was saying. He's like, this guy's interesting.
I know, exactly.
He just kicked a cat in the face. Then Ben definitely wouldn't like him.
This fucking guy.
I wouldn't. Listen, I tell you what, Jean-Claude, okay, in the bin, but it's more than that, boys. Nothing worked. Nothing added up. Didn't work as an action film. Didn't work as a social commentary. Didn't work as a character piece. None of it.
Well, I would say it is a very okay action film. Not great. I would give it a 6 out of 10 just for trying. But Jean-Claude, you have not won me any favours. You're not going to be in my watch list anytime soon.
It's also a 6 out of 10 for me.
2 6s. Well, you know I'm going
Give
low.
it to me.
You know I'm going low. I'm telling you this much.
Upper one.
Hard Ticket to Hawaii is a much better film than this is. Hard Ticket to Hawaii is a much better film.
Who would have thought?
This is a 3 out of 10 film.
Wow.
3 out of 10.
I love it.
What did you give Hard Ticket?
4. It is better though. It is more. I would happily watch Hard Ticket to Hawaii again.
I fucking love it, mate. Thank you. I love you gave that a 3.
So, Crush, I can't believe that Hard Ticket isn't the worst film that I've seen this year. But let's average things up, boys. So what that does, a 6, a 6, and a 3 averages out squarely out of 5. And we've got 2 films. So it's, regardless, this is going into our bottom 10.
Bottom 10! Going
into our bottom 10. I'm very glad that is where it deserves. I thought you two giving it a 6 would keep it out. But it's where it belongs. But now we're going to see where it lies exactly. Now, better or worse than 3 from Hell? I can't believe I'm saying this, but 3 from Hell is a better film.
What did I give 3 from Hell?
I think this is better than 3 from Hell.
I would say...
Paul gave 3 from Hell 6. Adam, you gave it a 4. So, Paul, you're the one who decides this.
Because I saw it pop up on Netflix recently, I was like, I'm interested in watching 3 from Hell again, just to see.
Oh, mate. Don't. There's so many films out there, man. Don't.
I'm gonna put this above 3 from Hell.
This above 3 from Hell. Okay, so on we go then. Batman and Robin. For me, Batman and Robin's a better film.
Oh, Batman and Robin's better.
Okay, so there it goes. So, listeners, what that means is it's changed things up at the bottom table. So it goes in, it's the new number 9 in the bottom 10, which means it is 2 places away from safety. So, running from our very worst films to our least worst films in that bottom 10, we got American Psycho 2, The Jesus Rolls, Hard Ticket to Hawaii, oh, sad times, Tomb Raider, Beyond Reanimator, The Meg, Pacific Rim, 3 from Hell, Hard Target, Batman and Robin. Batman and Robin right in that number 10 spot. About to push out of the relegation zone, which means in time, Danny's pick comes out of the relegation zone and into safety.
It's been saved.
Oh, wow.
But I'm very glad. This is one of the few films that I'm glad has been relegated into our bottom 10 because it deserves nothing more.
Jean-Claude deserves it for this film.
Jean-Claude deserves it. I got to say, I'm looking at that bottom 10 there. It's a little bit sad that Hard Ticket to Hawaii is considered our third worst film. I mean,
I feel like you're looking back on it more.
I am looking back on it more nostalgically because of this film.
Or just in
If we hadn't watched this, I would be hating Hard Ticket. But there you go. Everything, you perceive things based on what you see before and after. You know what it's like?
Course.
It's like with craft beer. When I first started really getting into it, the beers that I was drinking at the time, I was like, oh, this is amazing. This is a crazy good beer. And then I've drunk so many other styles and better versions since. Then when I go back to it, I'm like, ugh, this ain't as good as I remember. Because at the time, if you ain't got context, you do think, oh, this is incredible. Or you do think, oh, this is terrible. But then when you have other things, you're like, oh, actually, that was pretty bad. Or that was much better than I thought.
Well, good analogy. I like it.
There you go.
There
Hard
you
Ticket
go.
and Hard Target are in the bottom
The two
10.
hards go into the bottom 10.
Yeah. It's a hard life for them, man. Hard
Well,
Ticket.
Do you want to hear some reviews from our listeners?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Let's hear what the listeners have been thinking. Surely they all hate it too.
Well, first of all, we have Jamie Russell, our wonderful Jamie Russell, and he says, Van Damme is nowhere near as cool as Chow Yun-Fat. Check out Hard Boiled and The Killer for that. And this film is not peak woo in America. Check out Face Off for that. But it has some well-orchestrated mayhem and a great villain turn from Henriksen. Well, it kind of sums up. It sounds like Jamie rates it a little bit higher. I think from memory he gives it a 7.
Well, I tell you what, Jamie is always very generous. Jamie gives love. He's not one to dish out hate and just slander a film outright, even when it's terrible by our standards. He usually can find something redemptive about it. So for him to give this a 7 and be pretty negative overall means that he really fucking didn't like it.
Well, so this is going towards you at the moment, Ben. Let's see what other people have to say.
Yes. Next we have Home Video Hustle, and they just said, I love that movie.
There you go. Opposite way.
Opposite way as Brent, but Brent loves the fucking action films, man. Brent's all about the action films and stuff like that, so he would. We have Binge Lord Dan, who says, he's quoting the movie. Yeah, this is a terrible one. Why are you called Chance? Because my mother took one. I haven't seen it in 20 years, but I always considered it JCVD's best of the 90s. Lance Henriksen may have had a lot to do with that. Now look at that. There's no coincidence that the two of them shouting out Lance Henriksen. That's the thing. It's him who helps drive the film.
Yeah. Next we have the Gorilla Brain podcast, and they said, if you can punch a viper unconscious, you're already top tier.
I'm pretty sure it was a rattlesnake, wasn't it?
It was a rattlesnake. Yeah, I think it
He
was.
bit off its rattle.
Yeah, that's true. When it got to that bit, I was like, now this is like almost Hot Shots.
Yeah, exactly. You're bordering on parody once you get to that point.
Yeah.
Lastly, we have So Wizard podcast, and they said it rules. JCVD's mullet is glorious.
It is
gloriously
not.
greasy.
Yeah.
Has anyone with a mullet been glorious? I think the only one is the golfer, Cameron Smith. I quite like his mullet, but apart from that...
So greasy, so shiny, so wrong.
So curly.
So curly. Yeah. That had been done with a hot comb.
Oh, yeah. Well, a lot of people like it, Ben.
Well, like fair play to them. If they take some enjoyment from them, who am I to begrudge it? I'm not going to waste any more breath on it. I will never think of this one again.
Yeah, I took a little enjoyment out of it, just as much as Broken Arrow. Although Broken Arrow is probably better than this film because it has John Travolta in. As I said, it has more charisma. But, it's never going to be watched again. That's it. Yeah.
Well, there you go. I mean, that's a low shooter from me. That I haven't shot this low. Well, the lowest I shot before was American Psycho 2.
It's good to have these low balls.
I tell you what, American Psycho 2 and The Meg are the only films that I rated lower than this one.
Wow.
in our entire podcasting history. And I'll stand by that.
Can you hear that rain? It's so loud.
Is that rain, is it?
Yeah,
Wow.
it's rain. I'm in a porta cabin and it's on the roof.
That is loud, yeah.
So luckily
the
it
rain
started at
isn't
the end
here
of the
yet,
podcast.
Rain on me. Come on, let's...
Right, and seeing as we've said that and we're never going to speak of it again, let us move on to what we're doing next week, our final one in the 1993 chapter.
Yes. So we couldn't really go into 93 without taking this movie. Just for a little bit of reference with this film, Ben currently gives it an 8 out of 10, and I currently give it a 1 out of 10.
Do I give it a rating?
You don't have it rated, Paul. So you could be the mediator here. Your influence swayed big. But I don't think there's been a bigger gap between us and films in a long time. I'm yet to rewatch this film, so my rating may change. Ben's rewatched it. I think Paul's watched it.
Guess
And-
what? I've
What?
watched it now, and I'd never seen it before.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, you'd never seen it.
I'd seen bits. I'd never watched the whole thing.
You probably made more sense of the film by watching it in segments than you did actually watching it.
I will say nothing.
No, don't. You can't say nothing.
Anyway, this film is the Mario Brothers film.
It's the Super Mario Brothers, I'll have you
Super Mario
know.
Bros. with a dot.
Adam's already subliminally trying to lower people's expectations. Just the Mario
The word
Brothers.
super should not be anywhere near this film.
They are the Super Mario Brothers.
You know what, there's part of me that really hopes I really enjoy it the second time round, but I just don't see it
now,
happening.
imagine that now.
But yeah,
Imagine
anyway,
that.
we are covering Super Mario Bros. It's a shit show of a fest.
Well, Adam's
shit
revealing
show
all
of a
his cards. That's the thing. This is one of the few times where you're learning how we feel about the film before we go into it.
I know.
know.
But this way, when I was picking my films, they were asking like, "What film were you covering?" Because we obviously have to do them quite close together here. And I was like, I hate myself for saying it, but it kind of has to be done. I'm not looking forward to watching it.
It was calling to you.
Calling to you, yes. This man gives it a 1 and he wants to revisit it, which suggests that something in there is...
I'll do it for the podcast. I'll do
some
it for
magic.
you
Oh,
guys.
look at you. These are the sacrifices. This is when you show up, Adam. These are the sacrifices.
You
make for
you
the
sat
pod.
through the last half hour of Hard Target.
Well, there you go. Yeah, exactly.
I look forward to some high energy next episode, Adam, and some
yeah.
anger.
Maybe.
Yeah. I want you to tell me why. If as long as I still give it a good rating, I might dislike it. Now, on rewatch. Well, that's fun. Everyone, get out there and watch your Super Mario Brothers in time for the next episode. This is how we're saying goodbye to 1993.
Right, that is very exciting. Shall we move on to our patrons segment where we chat about what our patrons have been watching and just plug our patron basically as well. So, first of all, we have Sean Pandy Nicholson, and he says, "This week I watched the comedy horror Student Bodies, and although not perfect and a bit outdated politically at times, gave me two of the biggest belly laughs of my life. My life! I highly recommend for lovers of Naked Gun and Hot Shots comedy films." This sounds up my street if it's Naked Gun
That is a bit of
and
you,
Hot
isn't
Shot.
it?
Although I watched Airplane again the other day, and I
Oh.
gave it a 7.
Oh, that's wrong.
Did you have it?
Well,
did you have it before?
It's not as funny as I remember.
Well, maybe your sensibilities have changed over the years.
Like there's the classic moments, but then all the bits in between, it's like not as funny as I remember.
That's a shame.
It's still good, just not great.
Well, I haven't seen it in a long time, but I always remember being very, very fond of it.
I'd
Even
like
the
you to
second one.
rewatch.
Not so much the second one, but...
Yeah, I need to see that second one again. Can't remember it. Anything else? Are you interested in Student Bodies?
I added it to my watch list already.
Oh,
so
good,
yes,
good.
I guess I am.
So did I. It's got the girl with the big megaphone stuff in her mouth.
Oh, yes,
the
it
poster.
does. Yeah, very astute.
And then secondly, Sean says, worst has got to be Disney's Raya and the Last Dragon. There's nothing really wrong with the film, but it was instantly forgettable and followed that typical Disney formula that's really starting to grow stale with me.
I think Julio has previously given that a plug on here and really liked it.
I remember enjoying it while I was watching it, but like you said, it's nothing really. It's quite forgettable again, and it is very standard in terms of Disney.
I think it's got really great animation in it.
Yeah.
That is like there's water in it, and it looks like water. It's like amazing, like the steps we've come.
And they also did it all from working from home, didn't they?
Yeah, and it, like the plot's a bit unoriginal. It like feels a bit. I can see what he means by that. But yeah, it looks
you
great.
You give it an 8.
Yeah, I think it looks great, and I still had a great time with it. But I can
You
see,
give that an 8? The way you were talking just then, that was like a 6.
No, I was just saying I can understand the unoriginal. Like the plot seems like we've seen it all before, but it's got that heart, that heart there, and that's what takes it all the way.
Blood money, mate.
Yeah, it's cool. It's Disney.
Hating all the Jews, apparently.
Apparently. You just throw that out there. Hating all the Jews, apparently.
Well, that's true. That's what I heard about Disney.
Hooray herself.
I'm telling you.
I know. Disney's all about the hating of the Jews.
They don't like them. Well, thank you for that, Sean Panda Nick. And our second beloved patron is Jamie Russell, and he said, I watched Walter Hill's iconic 1979 film, The Warriors, for the first time.
Wow.
I haven't seen it yet.
Really?
I still haven't seen it, no. Such a cool film with a killer soundtrack throughout. Despite some dodgy acting skills, this is a lean, mean and thoroughly entertaining film that I will definitely go back to. A film to forget, which was only rewatched following a podcast, is the Alien rip-off film Species, a distinctly average genre attempt with some laughable plotting and acting. It also feels particularly cheap in how it exploits a 19-year-old model in her film debut.
Oh, gross. That sounds good.
Have you seen Species? I've seen it.
Never.
I saw it because of South Park boys early on, when South Park was in its heyday in 98. I had a VHS, and in their interludes, Matt and Trey they brought on Natasha Henstridge. That's who the 19-year-old model is.
Oh, yeah.
They brought her in because she had done a voice in one of the episodes. And they were talking about her in Species, and then I saw it, and it was crap.
Yeah. It's crap. But The Warriors, my lord, what a great film.
Well, this is a massive blind spot that I need to get seen to, don't I?
It is. I'm very surprised about that.
I don't know why. I'm at that point, as we all are now, boys. Or maybe, Adam, you will be in 5 years. You're still a young buck. It's now, there's certain films that I just haven't seen in all this time. And it's almost like to see them now is a big event.
Yeah.
So I couldn't just put it on. I'd have to go, no. Oh, what, Schindler's List? No, I have to.
You have to make an event, like sit down, watch it.
But then it's also like, well, when I want to do that, I don't want to watch that. I want to watch something new.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Daunting.
But I will watch it. Listen, The Killers. Jamie, how did you watch it? Was it on streaming? If it's on streaming, I will watch it.
Well, it's not called The Killers. Warriors. It's called The Warriors.
Oh, yeah, sorry. But it's because you said it had a killer soundtrack that threw me off.
Oh, you could have taken it. I got it on Blu-ray. You should have taken it when you came round.
Oh, dear. I've still got...
Your illness.
There's 2 films. No, I've got a new illness now, thank you very much. I've got 2
Sky.
films.
You don't have Sky, do you?
I don't have Sky. I have 2 films. When I went over to Adams before he gave me that bug, I took my Godfather Blu-ray back from him. And in exchange, I was to take some films from him. And I took Inside Llewyn Davis, which I haven't seen.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And the Nolan film. I can't remember what it's called. What's it called?
The Following.
That's it.
Oh, interesting.
But that was on DVD. And I don't know why I took it, since my love affair with him is over. But it was in the early days. It was good. Yeah, I got no beef with his early stuff.
Well, I'm interested to see what you think about both those films.
Well, I love the Coens.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do about it?
I think you might really like that film, actually.
Why? Because he's got a little kitty.
Yeah, there's a little cat in it.
It has got Justin Timberlake in it, though, which probably put Ben off it.
No, as long as he's not... Yeah, that's okay. Anyway, before we lose our audience, shall we give a shout out to the other patrons and then say goodbye?
Yes, let's give a shout out to our other patrons. Yes, you can become a patron, just like the likes of Steve from Movie Drone.
Yes, you can. You also have Luke Human.
Yes, and you can see the beloved Katie and Oti if you come join our family.
You can also see the beloved Julio from the Contrarians.
Yes, you can. We also have Nerd Revert.
We do. He's from Albuquerque. We also have the Fiona Stewart, the Joaquin Phoenix mega fan who's still with us. God bless you.
And then we have the Mr. Scottman, Sean Panda Nicholson.
Yes, we do. And we just heard from him. It's Jamie Russell.
And we've got Philip Barantini, the director of Boiling Point. Also, guess what I'm having for dinner.
What are you having for dinner?
I'm having the TikTok tomato feta pasta.
I had tomato and pasta for lunch.
Tomato and fat, right?
Tomato and egg on a pancake.
I've got fajitas for dinner.
Fajitas?
Vegetas.
What are you putting in them, please?
I have just some peppers, some onions. I made them last night.
These are vegetable ones?
No, I got the corn chicken. I put that in there.
When Paul and I met up the other day, we had vegan burgers.
Oh, we did, yeah.
What,
very
at Paul's
nice.
house? Or
No, in Shoreditch.
were they nice vegan burgers?
They were, but I don't know what was in them.
What was it, like Beyond Meat or Moving Mountains or something like
I had an aubergine burger.
I don't know what was in mine. It was a replacement chicken. It wasn't Satan, though. I don't know what it was.
Satan.
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 I'm Satan.
Hail Satan.
And now we are at the end of our episode with one episode to go. So, thanks.
Super Mario Bros.
The
Full
bros.
stop.
Exactly. Here's to the brothers.
Who's going to be the bros and who's going to be the hoes?
Well, I think we know that I'm Mario. I'm definitely Mario, and Paul is definitely Luigi, which means that Adam has got to be Cooper. You can be Cooper, mate.
Tales Master.